the button. Hi, Facebook friends. If you are joining us live, actually on YouTube too, I am Rachel Cross and I'm here with Michelle Cooper, the one and only. If you're here, I would love to hear from you. I'm going to give people a couple minutes to join because people knew we were starting at 1:30. But give us a like, put a comment in the comment box. And if you've never used this platform before, even though you're on Facebook, there's a link that's going to say, click here to make sure that StreamYard, which is what we're using, knows your Facebook name so we can see your name when you put a comment on. So be sure to click on that. But today we are talking Accounting 101, Know Your Numbers. I think, Michelle, you'd probably say love your numbers. Is that true?
Absolutely. Let's do more than know our numbers. Let's fall in love with our numbers.
Oh, I love that. People are probably sweating right now.
Right? They're like, I can't do this.
Well, I invited Michelle here because she's a badass CPA. She owns a crazy successful accounting firm in Canada, but she also happens to be my business coach. Hey, Felicia. Thanks for being here. But I would love, Michelle, for you to tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I live just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia, and about 10 years ago, I saw a problem out in the marketplace with entrepreneurs creating businesses, and they felt very intimidated by the numbers aspect of their business. So I created my firm, which we always say, it's not your dad's accountant.
I love
that. So it really supports a lot of mission-driven entrepreneurs, people who they would feel very intimidated or unsure about going into a traditional accounting office. And we support companies across North America. So I have a team that is across, in Canada and the United States, and a virtual team and a brick and mortar office team. And we do bookkeeping, accounting, and business coaching.
I love that. I loved what you said, Michelle. I attended a 2-day event this weekend where you presented, and when you said it's not your, grandfather's accounting firm, you said you're not going to find people in suits here. You might find people with tattoos everywhere, and I thought that was brilliant. I love that.
Yeah. You won't find, Dan, the accountant, in his brown suit.
Oh, poor Dan.
Right? I know, right? Poor Dan. You might find somebody with a nose ring or tattoos, or I don't know. One of my team members has purple hair right now, so.
I'm like, I don't know how to show my.
Where's yours?
Anyway.
There we go. Yeah.
I clearly don't know which way the camera is. Well, I'm excited to talk about this topic. I was talking with a mutual friend of ours, someone we both know who used to be an accountant, and she was talking about why she stopped working with entrepreneurs because she felt like she couldn't help them because they had so much shame around accounting and their businesses in the financial aspect of it. Can you talk a little bit about that? Why do people feel shame about it?
Yeah, especially women. Okay. Men do suffer from this as well, but it's really, really common in women. They carry this shame around money. And that translates, when they open up a business, it translates into shame around numbers. They ignore it, and then they become very shameful and guilty and embarrassed. So you might find that even women who know better, kind of thing, or should know better according to them, like they're an accountant, or their husband's an accountant, or something like that, right? Or they have a past that dealt with accounting. They will ignore their numbers. Mm-hmm. And that what I have come to know is that the shame comes from an underlying mindset of not good enough.
Wow.
And it translates out into the physical world with the actual dollars and cents.
Wow. I'm wondering if that's hitting people. That's even hitting me. And I don't have shame around money, but I know I have not good enough in other areas. So even to know, gosh, if I have that could be the root of shame in this thing that I can actually, if I fix the root of not good enough, can find more freedom in working with my numbers and actually owning it and feeling good about my business and how my accounting is showing up, right?
Yeah, like I always describe shame as like a lead backpack, right? It's like this thing you wear and it keeps you like down, like it weighs you down and you're carrying it around. And you may actually adjust to carrying it around. You know how when you carry something for long enough, it doesn't seem heavy anymore. And and so you kind of adjust to that level of belief or that level of living, and you don't know that there's something else that's possible. And when you take that backpack off, it's like when you get your long hair cut short, you're like, oh my God, I feel like my head's going to fly off. Like, it's like, wow, I feel so light.
Right. Well, I love what you're saying. Well, the picture, right? We can all imagine wearing a backpack full of lead or full of heavy rocks. And then this idea of being used to it. So not even recognizing that we have it on. That's a really powerful, I think, picture and even just recognition.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm excited to get into this conversation. If you're just joining us, be sure to let us know in the comments where you're joining us from, and click on the link that allows Facebook or StreamYard, which is the service we're using, to see your name. So we'd love to hear from you. And also you can ask questions in the comments and we'll have a Q&A time at the end. So Michelle, there are some common mistakes that entrepreneurs do related to accounting in their business. What are some of the top mistakes that you see in working with these mission-driven entrepreneurs?
I'd say the number one mistake is not separating your business and personal money.
Yeah.
Right? So they operate their business out of their personal account when they first get started and mix it all in. There's a whole range of reasons why that's not appropriate or a good business practice. And some of it is actually really risky in terms of audit from the IRS or CRA. There's also an aspect of liability in there when you're doing business, when you're mixing your personal and business money. But it's just to keep it let's just keep it clear and clean. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a business account, business account. It doesn't have to be in your business's name even. It could just be a separate account, checking account. I recommend it be at a different bank.
Okay, tell me about that, because that's good news. Because in my webinars, I actually just tell people just open another, account, because sometimes you can get a free account. You don't have to pay fees if it's with the same bank you have. So I'd love to hear about that.
I usually just it's further separation,
okay.
Right? And it can make it easier when you do end up with growing your business and taking on bookkeeping support. Then it's very clear, this is personal, this is business. It's very clear to your accountant. Even when people have the same accountant or an account at the same bank, they sometimes tend to transfer money back and forth.
Oh, I see. Sure. That's the temptation.
Yeah, totally.
Got it. Yeah. Hey, Wendy from San Diego. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome.
Okay. Besides, so number one common mistake you see is people mixing their personal and business. What's another common mistake that you see?
Oh my God. Now this is a big one. Making it harder than it needs to be to generate your business's records. So, generating a Word document as an invoice, or having a Excel document as an invoice, tracking something on a spreadsheet or a Google Doc, and then there's this box of receipts, and there's all these different places they go for the information. Right? Yeah. Where it's really, really easy to just set up QuickBooks or Wave or something like that and have it all in one place.
Totally.
Just one place. That's it. Just one place. And that, everything's in there. Right? So there's great capabilities within, say the QuickBooks app, where you can take a photo of the receipt and it uploads it and it records the information.
Through your phone. You can upload it mobily. Yeah.
Right? And so you can throw it away. You don't need to keep that piece of paper anymore.
Oh yeah. That's
right? Great. It's gone. And several years ago, the IRS or CRA wouldn't allow you to use an electronic copy of that receipt. But now so many things are on thermal paper, and those thermal paper fades. So they've changed their laws about that. Right? So you now can rely on digital receipts as proof in case you are ever reviewed or audited. But just do it all in one in place, right? Like one location, neat and tidy.
Yeah, I tell my clients that too. I'm like, find something that can, import your transactions where you can categorize them so that come March, you're not walking in or doing it yourself with like this pile of receipts. And the same software should create and track your invoices so you're not doing it manually. And it should be able to spit out reports for you, like profit and loss statements and balance sheets and income by customer, whatever it is, payments by vendor, so that at any given time what's really going on in your business. And I know even that comment's probably making people sweat right now, but I think it's easier. Hey, Lisa from Texas. I'm assuming you're in Texas. Great to see you. Okay, so number one, mixing business and personal. Number two, doing things manually is a common mistake. And then what's another mistake that you see people making?
Here's a big one as well. They're all big ones, I guess. I don't know. But people make it harder than it needs to be for their clients to give them money.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Right? So it's really easy if you have something that is bookkeeping software like Wave or Xero or QuickBooks to enable payment processing, and then you're sending an invoice. The client has all the information. They can click pay now, enter their card themselves, and there you go. With those kinds of softwares, you can set up recurring subscriptions. So the same transaction happens every month, right? And it makes it so much easier for the client's experience, right? You want to make it really easy, like open the doors to money coming to you easily.
Yeah, don't make them knock on your door to pay you.
Right? Because like sometimes I'll see like people like, oh yeah, you can Venmo me, you can PayPal me, you can like do this and that. And it's like, whoa, too many options, right? Or the other thing, which I personally find irritating, is, so don't do this, is when people they try to pass on the credit card charge to you. Yeah. Like, don't alert people to that. Just embed it in your cost, right? There's no reason to do that. Get over the processing fee. It's the convenience. It's the cost of doing business. It's worth the money in your bank now.
Yes. I was just talking to a friend about this. What about, I think people do have a lot of, especially related to credit card payments, like they just don't want to pay that, 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. How do you help people get over just feeling like, whatever the number is, like, I don't want to lose the $75 or $50. When you look at the number, it's actually pretty small.
Yeah, it's pretty small, right? And the other piece is like, how much time do you think it costs you to chase down the payment or, look up all the information, find out if they actually paid you, deposit an e-transfer, look in all these places that they could possibly send you money. Like that time is money, that costs you time, right?
That's a great point. And a great way to even think about it is I'm saving myself time and money by having this extra, whatever it is, $50, $75, $100 charge.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's in your bank, especially if you have recurring payments.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to manually issue an invoice. You don't have to check on it. You'll get an alert if it declines. Like there's so much peace of mind in that. And I can't stress the value of peace of mind.
Yeah. How do you
put a value on that?
Right. I got it. Hey, Colleen, thanks for joining us. I was just talking about you a little earlier. So what are some of the kind of simple things you think people, entrepreneurs, business owners can do to set themselves up for success when it comes to accounting?
Yeah, so set up software. Like set up bookkeeping software. It's the number one thing to do. It's not expensive, and get it set up right. So if you feel confident in setting up, awesome. But if you don't, if there's even like a 1% of you that's like, I don't know, like just pay the fee. It's not going to be that much to get it set up properly, and then you're off and running, right? Like we have a package where people get it all set up for them. They get a chart of accounts created that's customized for the business, and they get support from the team. So they call the team, be like, I don't know how to create an invoice. And the team will do it with them on Zoom, right? So just get some support and get it done and just get that piece in place. That's probably big, like a really big one. And then the other piece I would say is around like be open to outsourcing this in your business.
Mm.
A lot of people, they're in business, they're obviously very conscious of costs, right?
Yeah.
But for the return of investment on your time and money, bookkeeping support is the least expensive. Like it has the highest ROI. It will free up so much time and stress that like you can't even buy that. For the $100 or $150 it costs to get you started, it's like a no-brainer.
I love that. And Colleen just commented, don't start off with it wrong. And I'm thinking, how much money and time is it actually going to cost you later to fix any mistakes you make up front because you were, whatever it was, stubborn and didn't want to pay, you know, $150, $200 to have it set up right. I know, for example, my first year when I became an S Corp, I tried to do my payroll taxes my first quarter. And
Right.
A, it took me forever. And B, I did them wrong, which then the accountant that I eventually paid to do them had to fix my error, which cost me more money. So I'm speaking from personal experience here. I've done that. I've been kind of a little bit penny wise and pound foolish.
I've done it wrong. Like I have a gal on my team who specializes in U.S. payroll because it's quite complex, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking to a client and I'm like, I think it's this, this, and this. And my team member is like, stop talking. You don't know what you're talking about, right? And I was like, okay, I'm going to stop talking. You need to go talk to her because I clearly don't know what I'm talking about. It can be complicated. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other piece is like, get your taxes done professionally.
Yes.
Like there's lots of software out there that they say is really easy to use, and it is usually. However, there's information that you don't have, right?
Yeah.
It's like building a house without the plans. And so accountants know, they know the deductions, they know the added things that you can bring into play to reduce your taxes. And if you develop that relationship with your accountant, then they'll be able to suggest and support the vision that you have for what you're creating.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, and I know even for things like, you know, it's not just the taxes too. It's like then my accountant can look at my last tax year and say like, oh yeah, here are your, you know, estimated tax payments that you should be making for the current fiscal year, and then also just giving me advice on, hey, I know I have like a twice a year check-in with my accountant and we get to go over my books and make any adjustments to that. He can give me, like you said, like specific advice based on my values and what I want to do with my business that, yeah, like, you know, whatever it is, TurboTax Online can't give me. And I think that's, you know, again, it's that whole thing of we think like, oh, we just don't want to pay the money for it, which kind of is a good segue. I think a lot of what we're talking about and setting up these systems and saving time is around our mindset around money. And Michelle, you're my business coach, so you know, because you've actually worked with me a lot around money mindset. And a lot of it just came from the way I grew up, and nothing against my parents. It's not like they did anything bad, but I just was aware that there was a lack. And so I grew up with a scarcity mentality of money is hard to come by. It's easy to lose. You know, going into debt is like the worst thing ever, but also inevitable. I mean, there was like so many different things. And I know you do a lot of coaching with your accounting clients around money mindset. Can you tell us a little bit more, like what is money mindset and how do we work through that?
Yeah, well, it really is that piece around shame, right? And how that shows up in the form of what we believe. And what we know is that, you know, we have experiences and we create beliefs, which are decisions that we've made about money, right? And then we act from that place. So if we grew up, like a great example are immigrant families and farming families,
Yeah.
right? And or anybody's had to like work the land, or like I grew up in a commercial fishing family, so like really reliant on like the ocean and the delivery of fish.
Wow, I didn't know that, Michelle. That's so cool.
Yeah. And so we learn at a young age that money's hard to come by, or there's a feast or famine cycle, or like you said, debt's inevitable, or there's some kind of lack, and that's recorded in our mind, in our brain, as fact. And so we live from that place, right? And as we go out into the world, we actually create what we believe. And so we create debt, or we create limitation or scarcity, or like in my case, my story was around it's really hard to make money, and there's a feast or famine cycle. So I actually created the experience of it being hard, even though it was really easy for me. And I also created my own feast or famine cycle, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, holy shit, like what is going on here, right? So it's really kind of like untangling those beliefs that you have about money, not things to do necessarily, but it's really, what do you think about money? What do you believe about money? And start to pick that apart a little bit. And I just want to say, like, you don't have to go into all the childhood memories. Like, we've talked about this, right? We don't have to like sit in it and stew in it for a while and like relive emotions and stuff. Sure, we can if we want. We don't have to do that. We can just make a new decision and be like, well, no, this is what I'm choosing to believe now. And this is how I'm going to move forward.
I know that has been such a powerful process in my life of these last year. How does someone who's new to maybe just the mindset conversation even recognize that they have a belief about money? What would be step one in that?
Look at the money you have. So our realities that we live in, what we see in our lives, are a reflection of our beliefs. So if you are experiencing something in your life that isn't what you prefer, that's an indication that you have some kind of limiting belief there. So if you're like, I want $10,000 in the bank and I have $2 in the bank, that's something to look at. Right?
Okay, so first look at your money and what if there's a disparity between what you want and your reality.
Yeah, that's the first place, right? And then to ask yourself, like just ask yourself, what do I believe? And think about, like, what do my parents believe? What did I hear growing up?
Right.
What did I experience? Did I grow up in poverty? Did I grow up where my mom spent all the money and kept it a secret from my dad? Like, just kind of start to open up to what was my experience, because more than likely you're going to repeat your experience.
Right. Oh gosh. Yeah.
Right. And so it's just an opportunity, like not from a place of judgment. It's just an opportunity to look.
Yeah. Almost like observing yourself as a third person. Yeah.
Totally. And then be like, what do I want? And you'll see the gap between what you have now and what you believe and what you want. And then you can go, okay, well, what do I need to believe to get what I want? So if I decided that I wanted time and money freedom, and so that meant that I looked at, well, what do I believe about time? And what do I believe about freedom? What do I believe about money? And I had a lot of limitation around that. So I needed to kind of scoop that away and set up some new beliefs about having time and having freedom and having like money to do whatever I wanted to do. And
I love that
becomes your reality.
I love that. We have a couple of comments I just want to address. I think it's bringing up stuff for people. First of all, hi, Nick from San Diego. Colleen says, I used to think mindset was silly, but Michelle has changed me on that. Yes. Felicia, let me bring this up. She said, I have been getting money from the most unexpected places, but not yet in my new business. Is there any mindset around that, or should I just be grateful? It's a great question, Felicia.
I think it's both, right? So I would look at what, Felicia, I'd look at what you believe about business and about you being successful, right? And then at the same time, when we express gratitude, we change the vibration, right? We change the energy in whatever that gratitude is about. So it's not a kind of and or, it's both.
That's, yeah. So it's both. The gratitude, as we learn, right, is what unlocks the energy to then get to that place. If there was a mindset issue around that, then Felicia could do what you said, which is look at where she is and where she wants to be and look at the disparity and then kind of unravel it from there.
Totally, yeah.
I love that. Wendy's asking, what do you both tell yourself about money now that helps you attract money into your life? I'll tell you mine, Wendy. I've made a few decisions around money, but one of them is that I always have enough money to live the extraordinary life I want and be generous to others. And then what Michelle and Felicia, who's asking that other question, both encouraged me to do is keep a journal. So now I have a journal with that decision in it. And I actually write down evidence, right? So every time I have something where I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do that, and I had money for it when maybe I didn't think I did, or I got to be generous to whoever, X, Y, and Z. I write that as evidence in my journal. So what was yours? What was your decision?
Mine was a decision I made a couple of years ago, which allowed extraordinary amounts of money to come into my life, which was change keeps me in alignment and extraordinarily wealthy.
Change keeps me in alignment and extraordinarily wealthy. Wow, tell me about that. What did you mean by?
Yeah, so I felt like life was always changing. And so my wants for money and the things I wanted to experience and different opportunities coming in. And sometimes they weren't what I expected to happen. For example, David Bear asking me to come work for him. That wasn't what I expected to happen, right? And a lot of people will be like, yeah, you're going to make less money, right? I actually made more money that year than ever.
In your other business too.
Yeah. It was like, wow, okay, awesome. So I had this limiting belief around change and how it related to the fluctuation of money. Wow. Like I had said, I created my own feast or famine cycle in my life by overworking and making it really hard. And then I'd have to leave a job. And then I would go into famine. And then I would be okay. And I would get another job and I would be in feast. And then I would overwork myself, make it really hard. And I would go into famine because I'd have to leave again. And so the idea of change for me was really important because I almost feared change. Right. Yeah. And how it was like constricting to me, like, oh, hang on, I don't want anything to change. Things are good right now. But change can mean that things get even better. Yeah. So that's something that pops up on my phone 4 times a day to remind me 2 years later. And it's something I thank the universe for every day.
I love that. Well, and I know just because, Wendy, I know you and I know your circumstance. So I think you probably really resonated with what Michelle is saying around change. Hopefully you did. Felicia said, wow, thank you. Baran is building a new financial management app for freelancers and accepting BP users. So if
awesome.
Sorry if I'm saying your name incorrectly. Very cool. I think a lot of freelancers could use that. Thanks, Lisa. I would love to hear if anyone has on like Felicia or Colleen or Lisa, if you've made any new decisions around money as we're all in this coaching program together. Thanks to you guys for being here. Michelle, what are some ways if people are like, hush, yes, I want to get my accounting in order. I know it's time. I've had this business, I'm starting this business, or I've had this business and I know I've never taken care of my books. How are some ways, what should be some of the first things they do? I know setting up, kind of an online, some kind of cloud-based software, maybe outsourcing it. If they wanted to work with you, what's the way that they could contact you?
Yeah, so they can always email us at hello@alchemyaccounting.ca. They can find me on Facebook. I'm one of Rachel's friends, so you can always message me, friend me on Facebook. I share a lot of content online for free, just through kind of random Facebook Lives. And then I gave you a link for a little quiz that will help people really understand where they're at in regards to their finances and some next steps. So these would be the things that you would prioritize. This is your next steps. And depending on where you're at with your business, that it's really good information.
I have to tell you, I didn't even tell you this before, but I took the quiz yesterday, and because I was like, I'm good. Like, I tell other people what to do with their accounting. And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know cash flow, because I was thinking, like, I know my right, like flow, like I know what revenue is coming in, but I wasn't also looking at the expenses going out. So I have some work to do. So your quiz helped me see that. So it's free. It's good. It'll kind of give you a good indication of where you're at. So definitely encourage people to do that. Lisa shared her belief. I believe that income from my business is as abundant as leaves on grass and grass on the ground. I love that, Lisa. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that belief. That's super powerful. Well, we're at our 30 minutes. I wanted to, besides people contacting you, I have two more questions for you that are just more fun. But what makes you feel free right now?
Oh, time, having lots of time, and having the money to do what I want. Yeah. Raymond Charles Barker described or defined true prosperity as the ability to do what you want when you want. That's true prosperity, and that's really freedom. To be like, oh, hey, Darcy, want to go to the spa this weekend? Okay, let's go. Right?
I love that. And okay, last question. What is bringing you joy right now?
Oh, God, experiences. I know, like, we've been in COVID and in various states of lockdown, depending on where you live. And so maybe experiences haven't been as external. But for me, the last 2 years have given me incredible experiences. I traveled a lot over the past, year. But even the experience of COVID, I see as such a gift. It gave me so much insight into actually what I want for the future, how I want to experience my life. And so experiences are the thing for me right now.
I love it. That's so insightful. Thank you so much for lending your expertise, your time, your talents. You are a treasure. Appreciate you. And yeah, if you guys want to work with Michelle, check her out on Facebook or hello@alchemyaccounting.ca. Take the quiz. I'll put it in the comments below this when we're done. And thank you, all of you, for joining us. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It's so much fun.
Thanks. Okay. Bye.
Bye.